Hey everybody, Ketwolski here, checking in with another one of our hashtag Star Trek Discovery Discussions videos. Today we're going to be talking about a lot of the information that has come out from San Diego Comic-Con panel 2017 from CBS in relations to Star Trek Discovery. A lot of information has been released. I've been slow on the ball because I've been on vacation with absolutely no internet access, so I've got a lot of information to cover today, but I do want to go ahead and state that today's going to be covering a lot of spoilers for the show, so if you don't want any spoilers for the new show coming up here in September, please go ahead and close out of this video and check out another one. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at today is the new Starfleet medical uniform. They've gotten rid of the more traditional science blue. Obviously, everybody's wearing blue now, and now it appears as though that the medical career field, and most likely the science career field, is going to be wearing this blue uniform, or excuse me, this white uniform, as opposed to a blue one. I do think it's quite interesting. I think it maybe it just kind of recollects and harkens back to like a doctor's white coat and stuff like that. I've never worked in a medical career field. I don't think that people who do work in medical career fields want to wear white all the time, especially when you're dealing with blood. I would imagine it was difficult to clean, but but it looks good. It matches what the blue uniform is that we see everybody else wearing, and I think it also helps to differentiate between who the medical field people are going to be as opposed to just your regular ops folks. So that's pretty good. I just want to go ahead and share that one. And next up, we have a close-up look at something I covered in my Fundamentals of Star Trek video that I did a couple weeks ago, which would appear to be the new body armor that, at least as far as we know, the command staff is going to be wearing when they go on away missions. We did see Sonequa Martin Green's character, Michael Burnham, and also Michelle Yeoh's character. They were wearing them inside of the transporter room as they were getting ready to go on some kind of adventure. And if you look really closely here on the bottom corner, you can definitely still see the clip that it's going to go down to the sidearm where the new phaser is going to be sitting. But this looks really cool. It looks like it's got like a cool little Kevlar look to it. It's like the Starfleet logo right here. I'm not quite sure what these little designs are right here, but they look kind of cool. Again, not quite sure there. I did now notice that we do have some lighting right here on the back, so I wonder what other kind of additional features are going to come with this. Obviously, this is just a prop, but what futuristic additionals are they going to include in this? Is it going to be like also something that maybe checks their vital signs, that maybe auto sutures like a wound or something, or who knows what? Maybe regulates body heat. I don't know. Okay, so next up, we also now have our first real hard tricorder and the different badge insignias for the career fields inside of Starfleet. I think the fact that they're sticking with this design of like, okay, this is engineering, this is the command, this is engineering, science, or security, or whatever it is. I think that's really good. I think that sticks with what we kind of come to expect, and it also blends in well with Star series and stuff like that. I know this doesn't take place in that universe, but again, they're using a lot of the visuals from that era, or from those films, in order to help, I think, connect a lot of the newer audience into this Trek environment. Obviously, the tricorder we've seen in action in the trailer. And then I'm pointing at the communicator, talking about the tricorder. Obviously, we've seen the communicator in action right here, which, it's got the great gold top to it. This doesn't look any real different than what the original series was, so I'm okay with this. And, of course, the tricorder with what appears to be the additional piece that they used to scan with is sitting right here. This seems great. Like, these props look really good, and I like the way that they look. They've got, like, a real good, gritty realism to them, so I like it quite a bit. Okay, so the big thing that was revealed, obviously, is the close-up shot of the new phaser that they're going to be having on Star Trek Discovery. Now, one of the big things is it has the design of the one that we saw in the TOS era, but the reason I wanted to show you guys this picture first, because I have two images to show you. This one first is because it has the three little dots here on the front, and I'm assuming that either maybe it's different regulations on how hard the bolt that comes out of it or the beam that comes out of it hits. If it's a stun setting, maybe there's like a light. Maybe this is one of these is just like a light. Maybe they're all lights. I don't know, but the reason I wanted to show you this is because inside of the Cage episode with Christopher Pike, his crew was actually using a phaser that actually had three prongs on the front of it that was a little bit different than the one that Kirk and them were using. So this is kind of like a cool hybrid of the two different designs. I don't know if that was intentional on their part or not. This looks really cool. I like the way it looks, but if their intention was to create something that was between the Pike and also the Kirk era design, I think that they did a really great job. This looks really fun. This looks really, you know, Star Trek-y, and I do like the idea of having the 3 different things in there. The one that they used in Star Trek 2009 had a stun and kill setting that had like a flip action to it, which was fun, and it was, you know, it's a nice little thing. But this I feel like is kind of cool. Maybe we'll see like them like trying to like crank it, and they got to like maybe manually change the settings on it and stuff like that, you know, to try to get it to the kill setting or a lower, higher, you know, stun setting and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. But this is only this was the image that they released in the teaser for San Diego Comic-Con. I want to go ahead and show you guys another picture that I was able to get a hold of. So this picture here is of the same phaser, same design. You can see that there's the prongs right here. And this was actually tweeted out by Jonathan Frakes, who, as you guys may remember, has been on tap to do a episode of Star Trek Discovery. He's going to film at least one, possibly more, but I'm assuming he's going to do more, and I'm assuming he's also probably providing a lot of inputs on the other episodes and maybe even some of the actors. So that's really great. But anyways, he tweeted out this photo of the side of the phaser. And again, this has a very reminiscent look to the one that Kirk used. And it's got a little bit like this little design right here in the front, the barrel of the phaser, reminiscent a lot of the one that Christopher Pike used in the cage. So I think it's a really unique design. I think it's very Star Trek. I actually have no complaints about any of the props at this point. I think all the props look really, really well done. I like the gritty realism. I like the fact that this looks like, if you look real closely here, this is kind of a shoddy image, but you can see scuff marks on it. You know, there's like little cuts and bruises on the area of wear and tear where they would be pulling it and sliding it out of a holster and stuff like that. So to me, that adds all to the realism. It's not just a clean and green, you know, kind of a prop that's just, you know, all immaculate and fancy looking. You know, this prop's being used by a deep space crew, so it's going to get a lot of use out of it. Okay, so the next thing I want to go ahead and talk about was something that the showrunner Aaron Roberts talked about while speaking with Entertainment Weekly just this past couple of days. He wanted to go ahead and address head-on why the Klingons look so different. I've been theorizing for a while now that the reason why these Klingons look so different is that they're an ancient form of Klingon, and that they are just not evolved the same way as the rest of the Klingons that we're so used to seeing is. That was my hypothesis. I think some other people were sharing that as well. But I'm going to go ahead and read to you this quote right here, which basically ends the discussion as to why the Klingons look the way that they do. And he says, quote, In the different versions of Trek, the Klingons have never been completely consistent. We will introduce several different houses with different styles. Hopefully fans will become more invested in the characters than worried about the redesign. So that basically sums it up. They're going to go ahead and say that they're going to have different houses in the Klingons, which we already know houses, you know, Klingons have different houses and they have different sects and stuff like that. But they're going to have, I guess, you know, either uniforms, outfits, and even possibly even their physical makeup is going to look a little different based off of whatever house that they're a part of. I don't know if that's just going to help us as fans differentiate between who's who on screen. I've never really had a problem differentiating between who's who on screen with Klingons, but maybe they're worried about if they're going to have a lot of Klingons, it may become too complicated, so they're going to do something a little bit specific. I like the idea that the different Klingon houses are going to have different uniforms. That's actually kind of cool because, you know, yeah, I mean, all the Klingons in the show had like similar battle armor and similar ceremonial outfits, but that doesn't really make any sense. If they're all a part of different houses and they're all a part of different sects, they would have their own kind of patches or own kind of spin on the uniforms, so that I like. The Klingon redesign for their physical features doesn't bother me as much. I know it affects a lot of fans and a lot of people are super pissed about it. The Trek that I grew up on, I saw many different iterations of the way that the Klingons looked and the way that they were presented. So to me, it's not that big of a deal. I am a little bummed that these aren't ancient Klingons, but yeah, that basically ends that argument of back and forth of why they look that way. Now we can sit here and still argue about, you know, was that a good decision or not? That's a whole other discussion. But at least now we know they're addressing it. Like I said, he addressed it head on. Listen, we changed it. and that's just it. You guys are just gonna have to deal with it, and hopefully it works out well on screen. So we'll see what it looks like on screen. Okay, so the next couple things that we're going to look at were the alien props, the alien Klingon props that were presented during the panel for Star Trek Discovery. I'm going to go ahead and go through all the different images that they were able to provide online. I'm pulling my stuff off of trekmovie.com. That link will be in the description below. They provided a lot of information from a design and aesthetics point of view. I'm going to provide my Trek spin on this, but again, like I said, that link will be in the description of this video, so you guys can go and check out, you know, how these uniform props were actually made if you guys are into that kind of information. Okay, so first off, we're going to be looking at this, what appears to be Klingon battle helmet, which just looks phenomenal. Like, I don't know, I know a lot of people are frustrated with the, you know, cathedral style look of the ship that we saw, and also the different kind of wavy type uniforms and stuff like that. To me, I think it looks great, and I think it's adding a lot of depth into who, you know, the Klingons are as characters in terms of what they appreciate for battle. Like, this is obviously a ceremonial battle helmet, and this, in my mind, represents a warrior race that really cares about looking good going into battle. It almost looks like a samurai helmet, you know, that's what it kind of looks like to me. And it's got like this really amazing mouthpiece. I love the fact that the eyes are covered. And I assume that there's going to be like a HUD display inside of it, but the fact that the eyes are glossed over and you can't actually see what they're seeing, you know, I can't actually see their eyes, I think just adds to the more menacing look to this particular helmet. And you can obviously see this particular piece right here at the top that's going to be for the ridges that they're going to now have. You know, they have the more pronounced ridges and the more flat nose. This, I think the helmet looks just phenomenal, and I cannot wait to see this on screen in action against our Starfleet, you know, protagonists. Okay, so the next thing that we see here is what we got is the uniforms that we have seen people wearing inside of the trailer so far. The more ceremonial garb, it looks like to me right here on the right, and then I think that this is kind of just maybe more of a casual wear on the left. What's interesting to note is the boots. The boots are definitely a little bizarre. I can't imagine Klingons kind of lacing those up in the morning or something like that, or zipping them up, but I think they just look weird off of the uniform. But I think once these things are together, they'll look pretty good, and I'm not too concerned with that. So, but these look really, really well done. I wish I was there to actually see them in person, because again, the props so far and the Klingon uniforms for me have been pretty good. I like them a lot at this point. And I like the layers. I like it's got ridges and points to it. It's got a little bit more of a depth and a little bit more of a design to it, as opposed to just like black and dark metal, which was what we've seen before for Klingons. So this is really, really nice. I like this quite a bit. And here we have another view of the helmet that I was just reviewing a minute ago. This includes a bit of the top piece. So I don't know if it's going to be a digital design that covers the entire body, or if this piece will be added onto an existing armor piece that someone's going to be wearing. I don't know. But again, the design here looks so beautiful, and everything about it looks really great. Again, I love the fact that the eyes are completely covered and you cannot see what they're seeing, and I imagine, like I said, there's going to be a really cool HUD display in there. This is just a menacing helmet. If I was a Starfleet officer in space and somebody wearing this thing on their head was charging after me, I would freak the hell out. So, you know, I can't even imagine what our characters are going to be doing once they see these guys coming at them, charging at them with their new weapons and their new phasers and stuff like that, and disruptors and stuff like that. So this is really, really great. So I'm really, again, like, I'm super excited to see this inside of the show and in action. Okay, so this one right here is actually going to be a Torchbearer EV suit, something that they're going to be using in space. I do believe that this is what we saw inside of the trailer closer towards the end, but obviously seeing it static like this and being able to really look at all the intricate designs and how everything is layered together really adds, again, more depth to what's going on here. And I do want to go ahead and reference two big things here on this. Number one is I really love that the gloves here, they look like almost like claws. They don't look necessarily functional for typing things, but they look great for grappling your enemies, or maybe even tearing open their spacesuits. That would be a lot of fun, I think, to see them actually try to do something like that. And I also want to go ahead and show off the Klingon logo right here, padded right onto the arm. This goes back to show that I don't think, again, that these guys are going to be any kind of ancient. I think they're just going to be a new, more artistic style of Klingon that care more about their uniforms than, say, not at all. And it doesn't surprise me at all. You know, I feel like they're transitioning the Klingons into a samurai style of mentality, where they're going to be very, very ceremonial and more, maybe potentially even more spiritual than they have been before. The Klingons have been very spiritual in the past, but spiritual before, maybe superstitious, and then obviously much more into the design of their armor. And this one here has been labeled as a Torchbearer's female costume. Looks very similar to the ones we were just looking at a minute ago, except for the fact that this one is indeed red. But it also doesn't come included with their weird zipper boots. Again, I don't think that these things look good separated, but together they look great. Okay, so now we're going to get onto the biggest change, I think, that most fans are either going to love or that they're going to absolutely hate. This is the new Batleth. We have all been pretty accustomed to the way that the Batleth looks throughout the history of Trek. It hasn't changed. They've made a few tweaks and modifications here and there, but overall the design has stayed the same. This is obviously a completely different looking weapon. It doesn't look particularly sharp. It does look really fun, blunt, but there's two sharp ends right here. Is obviously this hook piece, and then this end here, and then whatever they're going to be using for this piece here. You know, and then we'll go ahead and scroll down here. We can actually see a slightly more close-up look of the handle blade, the handle of the blade, excuse me. So again, you can see it's not super sharp looking, but it does look heavy. It does look blunt. To me personally, I love this. This design looks really cool, and it matches with the new ceremonial design of the armor. Like, you couldn't have that more plain-looking Batleth inside of this universe that they're creating with these more ceremonial Klingons. It's got to be more of a ceremonial looking blade, and I like the fact that there's little different designs on the blades, and this actual handle's got like gems inside of it, and there's little ridges in here and stuff like that. What I'm hoping to see is that actually everybody else's Batleth keeps this style, like keeps a very similar style, but they're all a little bit different, and maybe like each warrior gets the opportunity to kind of design their own or make their own modifications. Keeps the Batleth standard with this kind of, maybe this kind of, you know, overall, like having the 4 blades and a handlebar in the middle, but maybe having one with like 2 hooks, or maybe one with no hooks, or maybe one with just these ones, and these ones are, everything's pointed forward, you know, or maybe different designs on it and stuff like that, or a different type of colored handle, or different designs on the handle. I think a lot of that would be a lot of fun. You know, because then again, it helps identify each of the different warriors and helps establish that these are a warrior race, that they appreciate battle and combat and weaponry and armor and stuff like that. So to me, I think it looks really cool. Definitely different, 100% different. And we also have here the Torchbearer Tag. It's a Tag. I don't speak Klingon. Their ceremonial blade that they're gonna have, I assume, probably on their hip or maybe even on their chest, like in like a sheath. This looks very similar to the design of blades that we've seen before for Klingons, where they have the single blade in the middle and then the 2 pieces sticking out. Obviously, this is, again, way more intricately designed. That one was a very simple blade with a black handle, with rigid design. This is much more wavy, much more fluid. It's got like this cool skull looks to it. It looks like this is like a spine. It's creepy looking. It does keep this design here with the cut in the middle, which is what we've seen before, and then the 2 side blades as well. They keep that design there, but they've changed it in a way that I think, again, blends with this new style of Klingon that we're going to be seeing on screen. And if we scroll down, we actually get a quick little close-up of the design, and this kind of craftsmanship, this kind of give a shit, to me, adds to the show. Like, no one's gonna see this. Look at this design here. Look at the fact that the metal's got weathering on it, and the fact that somebody spent the time to create this design, whether this is plastic or styrofoam or whatever, it doesn't matter. Somebody sat there and said, we need to have this little piece, these little logos, this little words here. I don't speak Klingon. I hope someone would translate this. Somebody spent the time to put this level of detail into just a simple blade that we're maybe going to see unsheathed a couple of times throughout the show. To me, that level of give a shit really, really adds to you know, my feelings about the show. It's getting a little bit more exciting, like, you know, and I'm wondering if that's going to become like a thing. You know, looking at the way that the Starfleet uniforms, which look very plain, very boring, very off of the you know, assembly line, and then you look at the Klingons' designs where they have these intricate little things, and it's all very detailed and very layered. It's all very historical, and it's got like a lot of meaning to it. I wonder if that's going to play into the show at all, as to, like, you know, this Starfleet has no character, and they're just, you know, everyone's all washed away with, you know, the United Federation of Planets, and the Klingons are trying to maintain their identity and maintain who they are. I wonder if that's going to become like a thing. That would be kind of interesting as well to see. But I love the designs of these blades. I love the design of the props. They're just so good. So good, and I cannot wait to see them on screen. Okay, we got 2 more images to go through. This one right here is the Klingon Disruptor. Same kind of design that we've always seen of a Klingon Disruptor, but again, that they've definitely made some changes to it to make it a little bit more of a ceremonial piece. Again, it's going to look, you know, you got like, you look here and all this little kind of design details and stuff like that. It's definitely got battle damage to it. It's got wear and tear damage to it. I just like the look of this thing, and it doesn't look too far off from the Disruptors that we've seen before. Now, I can't really tell based off of this picture, but it looks as though that there's like 3 little spikes right here on the front of it. So I don't know if this suddenly becomes like a cool, like, you know, brass knuckles type thing if they've run out of ammunition, or if the weapon malfunctions or overheats or something like that. So I'm curious to see if we're going to see like a little bit of a melee action with this weapon. That'd be kind of fun. You know, they're shooting and then they just punch some Starfleet asshole in the face. And we've got the Klingon Disruptor Rifle, which again includes 3 blades on the front, which again I think is going to be kind of something that we get to see for like a melee approach. The design, I don't even know what to compare this to. It looks like it's got like a carburetor on it, mixed with a hairdryer and weird gold pieces, and I don't know what the hell this is, to be perfectly honest. You can kind of get a quick glance for the size comparison, because right here at the bottom is the Disruptor that we were just looking at. So again, that's why I say, like, if you look at this picture, you see like there's 3 little hooks here, and then there's the 3 hooks right there. So I think we're going to see like a little bit of melee action with these weapons, or maybe they're just there for intimidation. They look really cool, but you get a good size comparison for the 2 different weapons. This is a handheld weapon, and this is supposed to be used with both hands. They're both kind of small, but I think that this one's probably going to be packing much more of a punch once it's actually fired, as opposed to just the Disruptor handheld weapon. Okay, so the next and final image that we are going to be looking at today is this thing right here. This is an unnamed concept art image of a ship. They had a lot of concept art images of the Klingon sarcophagus ship, the Shenzhou, the Discovery, shuttlecrafts, the, you know, all these different things that we've already seen and talked about in other videos, and we've seen in the trailer. This is the only one that was there that did not have a description card to it, and no one was able to talk about what this ship is. I'm going to go ahead and tell you straight up right now, my guess is that is the new Harry Mudd vessel. That's going to be Harry Mudd's ship. We can barely see what it is. It looks like a really long cargo vessel. No discernible design for Klingon or for Starfleet. So that's why I'm going to say that this is probably going to be Harry Mudd's ship. We already know that Rainn Wilson was cast as Harry Mudd. We know that he's going to be a big player in the show. So it makes sense that somebody had to eventually draw a concept of what his ship is going to look like. And my guess is that this is the ship right here. So guys and gals, that wraps up today's video. I know, again, like I said, that was a long one, but we had a lot of stuff to cover for the San Diego Comic-Con stuff for Star Trek Discovery. I hope that you guys and gals enjoyed this video. Please throw a like and subscribe up on YouTube. And please throw a comment down below and tell me what you all think about everything that we talked about today. What did you guys think about, you know, the different looking uniforms for Starfleet, now that they have a white for the medical ones? What did you guys think of the props for the phasers and the tricorders and communicators? What did you think about the 5,000 Klingon props that we went through? Do you like the new Batleth? That's the real big question I want to ask everybody, is do you like the design of the new Batleth, or do you hate it? Let me know what you guys think about all that stuff in the description below. Also, let me know if you think that I was right about the Harry Mudd prediction. I think that I am, but hopefully I can get some people on the hashtag Harry Mudd bandwagon. So anyways, I hope that you guys and gals really appreciated this video and really enjoyed it. I appreciate the fact that you guys spent the time to watch it here with me. We're probably over 20 minutes at this point. Please throw a like and subscribe up on YouTube, like I said. Please follow me on Twitter at RealKetwolski, and follow me on Facebook.com/RealKetwolski. And I will see all of you guys next time. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies.